Math 1332, Chapter 3, Symbolic Logic, Section 1, Statements and Quantifiers, Video 2, Simple and Compound Statements. In order to fully study symbolic logic, we first have to discern the relationship between simple and compound statements, since we will be analyzing the truth values of compound statements and arguments involving them based on truth values of simple statements. So let's get right to it. What do I mean by a simple statement? And recall that a statement is a declarative sentence that can be determined objectively to be true or false, but not both at the same time. So what is a simple statement? Well, it's pretty, simple. A statement that conveys a single idea. That's all. And here I have 4 examples. Example A, your jeans are torn. Now, maybe true or false depending on who you is and what jeans they're wearing at the time, but its truth value is objectively determinable, and it only conveys a single idea. Your jeans are torn. B, my kitchen has a trash compactor. Again, the truth value of the statement depends upon who's saying it. If I said it, the statement would be false, but it's only conveying a single idea, that my kitchen has a trash compactor, which in this case it doesn't. C, the capital of Louisiana is New Orleans. That's false. The capital of Louisiana is Baton Rouge. But as a statement, it conveys a single idea. The capital of Louisiana is New Orleans. You can almost say that a simple statement is a statement with a single subject, a single verb, a single object, and no double of anything. D, the square root of 1024 is 32. Now, granted, I could have drawn this using symbols like this. Most equations in math are just statements because the equal sign almost translates to is. It's got a subject, verb, and all that stuff that statements have. But that is an example of a simple statement because it conveys a single idea. So what's a compound statement? Simple statement is a statement that conveys a single idea. So what do you think a compound statement is? Well, it's up there. It was supposed to be covered, but that's okay. A compound statement is a statement that conveys 2 or more ideas and is formed by joining 2 or more simple statements with a connective. And really, I should say, give me 1 second to fix that. Much better. Compound statement is a statement that conveys 2 or more ideas and is formed by joining 2 or more simple statements with 1 or more connective. Can't let that slide. Better, I think. A statement that conveys 2 or more ideas and is formed by joining 2 or more simple statements with 1 or more connectives. Rats, you weren't supposed to see everything under there. Oh well. Oh no, spoiler alert. All right, so we have some examples of some compound statements, and in these compound statements, we are going to identify the simple statements that are joined together, the connective that is joining them together, and then a follow-up statement that includes a definition. So just to let you know, these rectangles here, the yellow followed by the pink, have a definition, and the words under the pink are the things that I'm defining. So if you're taking notes, and you ought to get ready to take some good notes. All right, A, Harold partied last night and he failed his test the next day. Ask yourself, what 2 simple statements are we joining and what word is joining them? Don't overthink it. The first simple statement is Harold partied last night. That conveys a single idea. The second simple statement is Harold failed his test the next day. I know it doesn't explicitly say it here. It says he instead of Harold, but you have to have a little bit of flexibility when you're building compound statements or unpacking them into simple statements when it comes to things like pronouns. Harold failed his test the next day is the second simple statement. And guess what word connects them as if it wasn't obvious? The word right between them, the word and. And is one of 4 connectives we'll be studying in terms of symbolic logic. So what's under here? A definition. When used to form a compound statement, the connective and is called a conjunction. Now, If you're a grammar freak like I am, you know that in grammar, conjunction means a word that joins two or more sentences or phrases or clauses. And there's a whole list of conjunctions in grammar: and, or, but, since, then, and a lot of other words as well, and even phrases. But, and this is important, in the realm of symbolic logic, the word conjunction is specifically reserved for the word and. Let me say that again. In the realm of symbolic logic, the word conjunction is reserved specifically for the word and when it connects two simple statements into a compound statement. Okay, so conjunction in this class means the word and. All right, let's continue. B, we can go to Florida or California for vacation. What do you think the two simple statements are? Now, unlike the previous sentence, this one does not have two subjects, does not have two verbs. It has a single subject, we. It has a single verb, can go. It has a compound prepositional object, if you will, to Florida or California. But what's the first simple statement? Oh, so you're saying, one second, you're saying we can go to Florida for vacation. Yes, that is one simple statement. And what is the other? We can go to California for vacation. Now, granted, we could have joined these together by literally putting the word or between these two simple statements. We can go to Florida for vacation, or we can go to California for vacation. But because those two sentences are identical except for the prepositional object, then we don't have to repeat every single word. We can just stick the or between Florida and California. And by the way, guess what the connective is? Yeah, I kind of gave it away. Or. So you know what's about to happen under here? We're about to define something. When used to form a compound statement, the connective or is called a disjunction. It will be critical to keep these words sorted out because I will be using them quite a bit, and you will see them pop up in your homework. But when used to form a compound statement, the connective or is called a disjunction. Now, there are some students and even professors that will say, no, disjunction is the entire statement. In other words, there are people that will say, this statement is a disjunction. And I don't necessarily disagree with them. It's just that we can use the word disjunction in two capacities. We can use it to mean the entire statement joined with the or we can use it to mean just the word or itself. And the same thing for the word conjunction. We can either use it to refer to just the word and in the context of symbolic logic, or we can use it to refer to an entire compound statement formed with and. So it wouldn't be wrong to say the compound statement, Harold partied last night and he failed his test the next day, is a conjunction. And it would also be correct to say the word and is a conjunction. And I will probably end up using them in both contexts, using the word conjunction to mean both the word and, but also meaning the entire statement. And similarly, using the word disjunction to represent the word or, but also at the same time using it to represent an entire statement with the word or in it. All right, we got a couple more to look at, and then a summary. C. If I win the lottery, then I will marry my, oh, geez. I know it's a math class, but bad grammar drives me crazy. That's better. C, if I win the lottery, then I will marry my girlfriend. All right, what is the first simple statement? Now, a lot of people get this part wrong when I ask them, what's the first simple statement here? If you said the first simple statement is, if I win the lottery, you are technically incorrect because the statement, if I win the lottery, isn't even a complete sentence. It's a sentence fragment. So what is the first simple statement? I win the lottery. So what's the if? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But the first simple statement is, I win the lottery. That is a complete sentence, conveys a single idea. What's the second simple statement? See if you're paying attention. If you said, then I will marry my girlfriend, you are incorrect. Because as a sentence, Then I will marry my girlfriend is an incomplete sentence. The second simple statement is just, I will marry my girlfriend. Remember, we also have a connective in here joining things together. So the first simple statement is between the words if and then, and the second simple statement follows the word then. What do you think the connective is? Well, gee, is it if or is it then? The if doesn't really connect them, the then sort of does. It's kind of a trick question because the connective is the phrase if then. So this is an example of a connective that's not a single word, but rather a two-word phrase. If something, then something is the connective. And what is that connective called? When used to form a compound statement, the connective if then is called a conditional. And same caveat as before. Contextually, the word conditional can refer to either the phrase if then or a compound statement formed using if then. So it is correct to say, if I win the lottery, then I will marry my girlfriend is a conditional. Maybe it'd be better to say conditional statement. And the phrase if then is called a conditional. Yeah, I think I'll try to do that from now on. When referring to the entire statement, I'll include the word statement. So for example, this would be a conditional statement. Harold partied last night and he failed his test the next day would be a conjunction statement. That sounds funny. We can go to Florida or California for vacation as a disjunction statement. That also sounds funny to me. But just keep in mind that we can use the names of the connectives for either the phrases or the entire sentence. All right, D, you can go out tonight if and only if you clean your room. Where's the first simple statement? Do you see it? The first simple statement is, you can go out tonight. What's the second simple statement? If and only if you clean your room? No, that's an incomplete sentence. If you clean your room, same thing. Why is there a comma at the end of the sentence? I'm not sure. Is that going to bother me? I think I paused when I cut off that last sentence. Sorry about that. First simple statement is you can go out tonight. What is the second simple statement? The second simple statement is you clean your room. So what's the connective? The connective is the phrase if and only if. When used to form a compound statement, the connective if and only if is called a biconditional. Now, most people know that the prefix bi means to, like in bicycle or other words that start with bi. And you may be wondering, why is it called a biconditional? Why is it two conditionals? When the time is right, we'll explain that, but it is called biconditional for a reason. And again, the word biconditional can refer either to the phrase if and only if, or a compound statement formed with the phrase if and only if. So we've seen four connectives, and here's a quick summary of them. Needless to say, you need to have these learned and memorized because I will be referring to conjunction, disjunction, conditional, and biconditional often throughout the rest of this chapter. So the longer it takes for you to get these down, the little harder it's going to be to follow our discussion. So know them, know them, know them, know them, know them. I hope I made myself clear.